trillions will flow through cryptos like Stellar XLM, and Zioncoins will benefit. How am I deriving at that? How am I coming to this conclusion? Well, before all of that, please like and subscribe. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm, and I can keep delivering more and more content like this to you more frequently. Now, with that aside, let me just say this. It's the fundamental facts of the matter, clearly. The reason I say this is because you look at these technical analysts and their charts, and it's because of the charts. It's just a pattern. It just happens over and over again, and it's a fractal, and it's a this, and it's a Fibonacci, and it's a bollocks. Complete and utter bollocks. I'd tell you, go back 100 years and ask a trader if it was because of the charts. They didn't bloody have charts back then, so it's not because of the charts. Yes, it is patterns, and you may be able to recognize certain patterns, the way these numbers run, okay? But ultimately, it's the fundamentals behind the facts of the matter, okay? Not because of the charts. The charts only present a picture. They're not fact of the matter. And you'll always find that with these chart guys, these technical analysts, okay, you'll always find that it's always the other thing that they're talking about, not their actual main bag. Yeah, it's always the other thing, right? And by the time it's meant to be their main bag that's meant to pop, it never does. Never does, because the fundamentals weigh in and smash their idea to oblivion. It's that clear. And then it's always, oh, well, you know, in time. Well, yeah, in time, I'm going to grow old and grow grey hairs, and it's never going to happen. Yeah? So put that aside, okay? Just, obviously, I'm not saying don't understand about the technicals. I'm not saying, you know, ignore the technicals. But when someone tries to tell you that it's 100% charts, BS. Okay, don't believe the rubbish. Okay, come away from that. Do more research. I would look into, you know, actual floor traders, you know, traders that have worked with banks for decades, all right, and see what they have to say about it, how they operate in the markets, what high frequency trading is, what making the market is. All of these factors, okay, are things that contribute to the way price runs, volume, velocity, all of these factors, okay? And traders make their money based on these factors, and they have conversations from here to Timbuktu, okay, about what's happening for the next day. You should do your research and you'll find out the true answers behind it. But fundamentally, what are we talking about today? The Fed, and what's going on with states around the USA. Mayors popping up saying they do not want a Cbdc run by the Fed. It's too much control. We need to delve down into this and look at what's being said by these mayors and try and establish some understanding as to whether a Cbdc is a good thing or a bad thing. Nathan, over to you. Okay, thanks for that, Nathan. Yes, so just in, Florida governor, CbdCs have no place in Florida, and we are proud to lead the fight against it. I think we need to look into that a little bit more. What is going on with that, really? A lot of people. US Senator Ted Cruz introduces bill to stop the Fed from adopting CbdCs. There we go. We've got any more information on that? He's actually not helping. He isn't taken seriously even by many of those in his own party. This will undermine what would have otherwise been a sound legislative proposal requiring serious debate and consideration. So, yeah, it's true, because really, when you think about it, there needs to be restrictions on the Fed. So, in terms of ethics, people will not be enslaved effectively. So, news: Biden administration publishes report attacking Bitcoin and proof of work mining while promoting CbdCs. Well, we know about that because we read this crypto frameworks almost several months ago now, and I kind of come to that conclusion, didn't I, with you already. What does digital asset say? Digital asset investor, currency reset, CbdCs and war. We are headed towards a currency reset. If it isn't cryptocurrency, it is central bank digital currencies. We're going to get bargaining. Okay. All right. Ron DeSantis calls for a ban on CBDCs. So there you go, Ron DeSantis as well. Cash is king. The minute it's all digitalized, somebody else is going to have control over your life. Mentions examples of how Canada government oversteps its boundaries by freezing bank account during the yes, that's a good point.
Will never occur in the free while protecting against government surveillance over your personal finances. But our legislation shouldn't stop there. Given the continued increase in Chinese influence in worldwide affairs and increase in plans to adopt CBDC worldwide, our legislation also prohibits any CBDC issued by a foreign reserve or government-sanctioned central bank. This will ensure that any effort to adopt a worldwide digital currency will never occur in the free state of Florida. And finally, I'm calling on like-minded states like Florida to adopt similar legislation into their uniform commercial codes and to reject any changes to their uniform commercial code that would formally recognize a central bank digital currency. And I've already spoken with Lieutenant Governor of Texas, who's the head of the Senate in Texas. I do believe Texas is going to do something similar to what Florida does. And if we can get a groundswell of states to say no, we are not going to turn over this power to you. I mean, look, ultimately, cash is king. I mean, if you can hold it in your hand, you have power over that. The minute it's all digitized, somebody else is going to have control over that, and it's just a question of, are they going to let you live your life?
Exactly,
Are they going to
and that's
decide
where
to do
cryptos
things
should
to circumvent
be
what you want to do? And think about what we've already seen in Canada. You
Not
remember
your
when the
keys,
truckers
not your crypto
were protesting the vax mandates. You know, they had banks. Some of the government froze some of their banks. You had charities that were trying to help these guys, and that was frozen. So we've already seen government really overstep its bounds as it is in the banking situation and financial sector that we have now. Can you imagine if we went to something like a central bank digital currency? So I'm glad that we're at the tip of the spear on this. I think it's really important that states stand up to fight back against some of the things that are going on, well, most of the things that are going on right now in Washington, because they don't have your best interests at heart. They have their own power at heart. They have their own agenda that they're looking to advance. And so I think this will be great legislation.
So some sort of civil war, digital currency,
in the legislature.
big brother stance going on from state to state.
And I look forward to being able to sign it into law.
We are headed towards a currency reset. If it is
Nathan, back over to you. Okay, that's great. Thanks for that, Nathan. So, rate hikes today. The Fed raking heights 0.25 and are planning to continue to raise rates because they believe that the labour markets are strong and the banking sector is strong, and that actually the Signature Bank, SVB Bank, amongst others, are just because of bad management, effectively, of funds, and that this banking run, or these banking runs, aren't anything to do with any other issues, which is okay. Finding it hard to believe. The fact of the matter is, you know, people are wiser now, and they believe that, you know, if these banks are holding treasuries with low yields, very expensive, then can they actually afford to pay the depositors their money, effectively, or any interest that they're owed? And, you know, if these companies believe otherwise, then why would they hold their money in the bank, right? And it's clear that they hadn't been able to SVB hadn't been able to do it, Signature Bank hadn't been able to do it. So they say, Signature Bank may say otherwise, and that they were solvent. Which leads to the question, how many more banks? You know, Powell has given the impression that actually everything is stable. They're continuing to raise rates. I don't know whether it's a save face thing or whether it's a actual belief. But when they talk about the GDP figures not being where they want them, well, that's a clear indication that the gross domestic product is not there. You know, which should weigh heavily into, you know, what the value of the currency is of that country. Which then suggests that actually more is to unravel. Because whilst they say the labour markets are doing well, problem is that, as they say, inflation is beginning to curb. They're still not there yet. They need to continue to raise rates to get it down to that 2%. But the problem with that is that, you know, people's salaries aren't going up. People's wages aren't going up. And they're trying to say they're putting this fiscal policy into their machine, into their tools. But I don't think it's effective enough. Yes, I get it. It should be effective because they raise interest rates to bring inflation down. Therefore, you know, your salaries shouldn't really matter. But inflation's already risen so high. You know, salaries need to come up by 10% minimum. Minimum. 10%. And they're just not. They've been stable for the last 2-3 decades. You know, people are having to go into other industries to make more money or take on a second, third job, giving them less and less time with their families. So it's no wonder that people are skeptical about the markets. And also, we have to realize that, again, it's just a sticky plaster. The Fed seem quite bullish that what they're doing is effective enough to reduce inflation. Inflation is still really too high. It needs to come down a lot more. But really, I think that they're going too far with the rate hikes. They even suggested that they will raise rates even higher, you know, alter that to ensure that inflation keeps coming down. But the problem again is the underlying issue, which they keep brushing off. The banks are suffering because when you have this decrease in inflation, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Yeah. People supposedly should start consuming more, meaning more jobs, because businesses are more prosperous, they have to employ more, right? But what then does that mean for yields, for treasuries? Is that a case of premiums going up and yields coming down, or premiums going down and yields going up? We know at the moment that, you know, these yields that these local banks have got themselves into are extremely low, meaning they've had, you know, they're numbered with an extremely high premium. So, you know, cashing out of these bonds to pay their customers, to pay their depositors when they pull money out and put it into things like gold or cryptos, is a massive struggle for them, because then they're having to sell these premiums at a loss. In any case, I think that people are a bit wiser to it. You know, we saw this sort of thing happening back in 2008, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe in this 3-year stagflation period, as before, where big bank buys little bank, and then all of a sudden, big bank fails, and the printers have to start coming out again. This may be a couple-year process. Who knows? But as it is, mayors, governors from state to state are not happy with these Cbdc's. What does that suggest? When your own country statesmen are suggesting that it's not right. Too much control. We need democratization of money, not more measures and controls put in to stop people having free will with their money. I'm Nathan, aka Nathan of Zion. Smash the Zion coin up there, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day now. Take care.